everyone. As I said, I was going to come on and do a Facebook Live about an article I posted yesterday. And the article was titled um, Women Who Regret Motherhood Share Their Stories. And it's based on a book by a woman who has been studying this phenomenon of women not enjoying motherhood, not appreciating motherhood, the way that society says that it should be enjoyed and appreciated, and speaking their truths about it. Not being, scared away from, um, I want to make sure that I can be heard. Make sure I'm being heard because this is my first time, um, using my headphones as opposed to because I wanted to make sure there was no background noise. But I'm just going to keep on talking. So the article was very insightful, and really the point of it was not just to say, oh, women say this about motherhood. The point was to really inform people, educate people, and have the narrative changed and rediscussed about regarding around motherhood and having children. And of course, Mommy Evolve. Let me just introduce myself if you don't know who I am. My name is Cecile Edwards, and I am the creative director, CEO of Mommy Evolve, where I assist women in practicing sacred self care and destroying generational patterns. And this is a subject and a topic that I'm very passionate about because it's my own personal process, it's my personal story, right? So I just wanted to discuss a few of my insights about the article. And there were so many, but I'm just going to talk about and give some tips on how to practice self care, how to really work through and comb through this idea of, loving your children dearly, child or children dearly, but also grappling with the fact that, you know, parenthood is something that you didn't get a good understanding of before you had the child, and now you wish that you had the ability, and you still do have the ability to grow in yourself and do what it is that you want to do. It becomes a little bit more difficult when you have a child and you have that responsibility, right? So one of the critical points that the article makes is that this isn't about the conversation is not about race, socioeconomic status, location where you live, etc. And also that the reasons why the women in general have this reticence about motherhood and this conversation around motherhood is varied, right? So there's a lot of different women who can experience it, and there's a lot of varied reasons why they experience it. Okay, and that's life in general, because we all have individual ways of seeing things, individual ways of expressing our lives, and that's what makes this world fruitful, right? But to some, this may make the conversation seem a little messy or makes it unclear. But to me, it makes it very clear that we need to get to the heart of what soothes us individually in order to make informed decisions and to set ourselves up and our lives up in a way that is going to be most powerful for us, whether we have children or not. The deeper you know yourself, the more you know yourself, the more you know the structures around you and the way that it is working, the better decisions you can make. This is why I'm not really into certain kinds of groups and things like that that say, oh, this is the way for you to do things. Because the truth of the matter is everyone has their own way, and we can all come together on particular points. But if anything is telling me that this is the way that I should be doing things, then for me, that never resonates, right? So, what I read in the article was that women regret having children because unfortunately we spend most of our existence thinking about, considering, and planning towards a fantasy, and the fantasy of trying to make our lives fit into that fantasy instead of facing the realities that we see in front of us. Because it's not like many of us don't see women and mothers struggling and frustrated. It's just that we don't have the conversation behind it to really flesh it out, right? So we are living in, or we are still counting on the fantasies, and we're creating, trying to shape our lives around that instead of trying to shape our lives for what it is, and then fitting everything that comes along, that may come along with life, because you may choose not to have children, and that's up to you. Right? And that's another part of the conversation, because I'm not saying that you have to be a mother. I'm saying that you're a mother of civilization, whether you have children or not, quite frankly, because women hold a particular place in this society. But that's another conversation that we'll get back to. I'll do another video on that one, that conversation. Um, but, instead of taking care of ourselves, teaching ourselves about ourselves more deeply, loving ourselves more deeply, being joyful, understanding what we love, and all of that, and centering around ourselves, we center around the fantasies and the stories that we hear in society. Okay, and the more the more women know the options that they can have around motherhood, because I think also the options are very limited right now. Right now, what is in the public discourse and the conversation is you have to work 40 and 50 hours a week and come home and cook and clean and do XYZ in order for you